Okay, we're back with what will be part 2. Had a little break there. We may do a part 3. Let's see how this conversation goes. I'm enjoying the hell out of it because there's a lot of good data and information here, and of course, even though you hit the pause button, things keep going sometimes. So Casey jumped in here, and she why don't you say what you said, and then Charlie can answer that.
Okay. So I wanted to go back to this identity doc. So it's something that you create, and we have a template for it on the website. But what matters, like if you're in front of a judge, the emphasis is not on what this document, even though this document is very powerful. Basically, in a court of law, it's just your self-identification, and it's hard evidence showing that you are who you say you are. But I think what is more critical is your engagement with the judge and what you say to the judge, and that's what I was talking to Charlie about.
Okay, so yeah, all right. Charlie, go ahead and nail that one in.
Okay, it's very simple. Once you identify yourself to the cop on the street, the security guard at Walmart, or the judge, federal judge, all the way to the Supreme Court, or the president, I don't really care. They have two choices. Accept your document and your declaration of who you say you are, what political jurisdiction you live in, and what law protects you, or make a legal determination that you're a liar and then prove that you lied. So you got a judge that says, well, I'm not going to recognize this. Okay, judge. And I'm really confused because I read the state constitution, I read the federal constitution, in particular the legislative sections. And I don't find the people identified there anywhere as subject to legislative powers. And you know as well as I do, Judge, that when someone is not identified as subject, then they cannot be a subject. So, Judge, are you determining that I am engaged, you're trying to enforce involuntary servitude on me? And if you do that, are you personally liable to me? Judge, the cop are making a legal determination that I am subject to their powers. That's slavery, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it is. And you have just stated something that the other two gentlemen that previously we referenced have stated in slightly different terms, but you've done it in, I want to say, a little bit more direct and to the point manner. You've reworded this a little bit differently, and that is more, I guess I want to say that the way that you just said that, if somebody can remember that, if they have to face a judge for whatever reason, it's a whole lot easier to say, are you trying to make me a involuntary slave? I mean, because the other ways that were suggested would require a little bit more knowledge of the game rules and some of the game terminology. This is pretty simple. You've simplified it, I want to say, because of the differences. Because the other two gentlemen have addressed the same issue of how you can do that, but they do it using the bond system, and
Right.
You see what I'm
Let's look at the real basics here, okay? The judge at that point, the cop at that point, knows I am a master. He gets paid every week by the system to be a servant. That true or not?
That's true. Now, whether he realizes that or not, that's a different story, but that's true.
Well, his paycheck comes from us. So the bottom line is, when you act like a master, the servant has to prove that he's not your subject. That's a very difficult situation. Anytime anyone uses any of the servant
the real hope is that, yeah. Okay, so let's move forward. I want to get into your document now, and because I like a lot of what I see here. Now, there are, like I said, there are different ways of figuring this out, and there are other individuals that have come up with their ways, and those ways have had their success level. Essentially, what we're talking about is changing your status, but doing it yourself and not doing it through the system. Because the other way to change your status that has been suggested by the other two gentlemen is to do it through the system or through the game makers. And
okay, hold on. Let me address that, Aaron, before we go any further so there's no mistake.
Okay.
As soon as you engage with your servants and satisfy their needs, you give up your position as a master.
No.
Why not?
Why would you ever give up your position as the master? Or I want to use the term sovereign.
Okay, all right. I'm the sovereign, so if I engage with my subjects and their subject matter, which is their statutes, their control factors, and all their rules and regulations, if I engage with those on their terms, did I give up my sovereignty to do so?
No. No.
No brainer.
No.
Bullshit. You cannot, look, oh, here's how simple it is. How do you pick up a turd from the clean end?
I said, okay, I get the logic that you're saying you don't play the game at all, but when you're...
No, how can you play a game that you know is corrupt without being corrupt? Okay, if you're standing in their septic tank, you stink like shit. Duh.
I want to say something if I could. Okay, I don't know. I would say that I think what Charlie is saying is that if we, they are subjects, they are servants.
Yeah.
When you create this document or you fill out this template, you are the one who's identifying yourself as the master, authority, the creator of the government over the government. Okay, you are at the top of the pyramid. So
let me go right to the phrase.
Okay.
In the study document, paragraph 1. All right. I, Charles C. Miller, was born on the soil of Hot Springs County, Wyoming, and the name is blah blah blah. Annexed public record, which is proof. Delayed state certificate of birth. All the identifiers is public record proof of fact. You cannot deny public records. Nobody can. They're 100% verified. Every person that works for the government has to accept them as true. Underwriting. Understand what underwriting means, Aaron, is that document identifies me based on everything that they do. They're underwriting my birthright of a state citizen. Their whole system is based on misidentification. If I don't identify myself, someone else will. I took care of it right here with their document saying this is my capacity, period. Now, Judge, Mr. Kopp, you please tell me where I can't do that, because if you even try, you're enticing me to involuntary servitude.
And I wanted to add to that. So my point was that when you position yourself, and this is your ID, this is your status, you are the authority over the government because you created it. They are your subjects. They are your servants. The only thing I can think of is what we said earlier, is that you don't argue with your servants. You don't argue with your subjects. So if you're arguing with them, then you're playing in their world. You're playing on their game board. And, you know, if you're a king, would you be arguing with your servants? You wouldn't. You're the rule maker. That's the only thing that came to mind.
And I agree with that. And I prefer that demeanor and approach. My question is, you know, that is, you know, that's going to work a lot of the time. But when you are confronted by the mindset that I was confronted with, they don't care. There was a whole bunch of shit that was jacked up on me that was wrong. It was false.
Erin, let's clear all of that up right now. It's real simple. The only one that you can be responsible for is yourself. Your whole premise is these people should do something.
My premise is there are a significant portion of these people that are corrupt, and you can show them that.
The premise is the same. You're making a judgment for them. Whatever they do and how they act is their business, not yours. Your business is to take care of you, and if somebody trespasses on you, you have the guts, the knowledge to take care of your business, which is protect yourself and whack the living hell out of them when they screw you over.
Okay, so are you recommending that that I physically resist their physical approach?
Well, I'll give you a story.
Because I had four.
I'll give you a story that tells you exactly where my standing is. I came out of a hearing with a federal magistrate. I was there for a bond hearing. This is 1997. This is a retired CID full-bird colonel, lawyer trained by the government. David E. Wilson. And I said, Mr. Wilson, I've got 3 Supreme Court cases here. Are you bound by these as your orders, as if you were in the military? He said, you bet. They all say that you need to give me bail for these reasons, 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you going to follow your orders today? David Wilson got up from his federal magistrate's bench in the Seattle Old Courthouse, left the room. We sat there for 20 minutes. His clerk went to look for him. He went home.
All right, that's great, because he's far more educated than Joe Blow blue suit wearer.
No. It had nothing to do with anybody's education. It had to do with me putting him in the position. That's the master's job.
And that's why I was saying. That's why I was saying demeanor. That was your demeanor. And anyway. All right. So let's put it this way. I truly appreciate your position. I truly appreciate your position.
I don't believe that. Not anymore. You keep going back to the corruption position. Why?
Because they're corrupt. We live amongst.
Who cares? Let them do whatever they want. When enough people stand up and say no, it won't work anymore. It's that simple.
Okay. I agree with that, but I don't know if the enough people are there yet.
Yes, we are. Okay, you mentioned the spiritual world, okay?
Yeah.
I work with energy patterns. I see pictures in motion of actual events that not just occur around me, but all over the place.
Okay.
I understand that all energy patterns, once they have an identity, share the same language. I can speak to them. They speak to me. Anybody can do this. All it takes is the right attitude. Instead of the bullshit of the room that's saying that, hey, it's all creation's energy. I'm part of creation. Therefore, I can have a conversation with these other energy patterns because we're the same. Eating the corruption is pissing in Creator's face. Not a good position.
Yeah, Erin, can I say something?
Go ahead, Casey.
Well, I just wanted to say that it is a tougher scenario when most of the population is not positioned correctly. And Charlie made a good point right now, is that the more people that position themselves, put themselves in that authority position, these tyrants aren't going to even bother at some point. Let's say 20% of the population decides to, make their personal declarations, and we operate in that capacity for, a year or two. Imagine the change. Imagine the drastic change that might happen. But here's how I look at it, is that I know how much power I have just with this document alone. And what occurs to me is that power leveraged from the Declaration of Independence that this document is based on, because I'm now the creditor, not the, I'm not a debtor, is that I can make literal change, because according to our Declaration of Independence, something isn't working, a piece of our government, a particular branch, I can change that, right?
Yeah.
Well, who am I would I not be participating in the same behavior that the corrupt public servants have been doing for, the last 100 years, 100+ years, making decisions for you? So the more people that reposition themselves, the more power this country has, and absolutely we can dissolve the entire government.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. If we could all be of the same mindset as Charlie, and I love what he's presenting here. What I'm trying to suggest is, we need to, I guess, clearly give that path, so that if somebody now knows that path exists, they can take it on by their own choice. They can take that path, and there are people that are doing it, and there are a lot of people doing it in different ways, and which is the reason why I was, happy to bring you guys on so that we could have this conversation, because I wanted to get into some serious questions about your way, and how that works. So that's the whole point of us having this this video discussion. This discussion is to get into what you're putting out there, and because you wouldn't be putting it out there if you didn't want to help others. You want others to be in your position. That's our desire. And I want to help others.
No. I think I need to correct that. I don't care if somebody else is in my position.
Then why did you bother?
Not my business.
Then why did you bother?
Not my business. Well, it's real simple, okay? I live by one rule that governs everything else. I treat all life forms the way I want to be treated.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that not, is there not a level of caring involved in that statement?
I don't really break it down as caring. What I see it as is an obligation. I recognized a long time ago I was given extreme talents and abilities and a set of balls to go with it. That, the only thing that scares me is me facing myself, in front of creation. Am I capable of doing that? Well, I'm not going to have any choice here pretty soon, at my age. So, the real issue is this. Do I have an obligation to my brother and sister Americans to provide them with tools because I was given those tools by creation? Absolutely. If you want to call it care, that's fine, but I don't call it that way.
Well, I'll accept that point of origin from you, that it is out of obligation as opposed to caring, which I would also say we all have an obligation to because here's the thing I would put out as an argument in using caring, because caring for others is self-care. Because if the others are,
yeah, we're all made up of the same energy.
Because we are all one. We are all one. So
that's right.
So, all right. With that, let's take it back down, because you've got something here, and I definitely want to get into to your documents here, because I do have a couple of questions that maybe I'm off my rocker, maybe I have a clue about a few things, but I've read over years. And so first off, I've got them up on my screen, so anybody who's watching this, watching this can see this. The link to this document, or the documents, and the instructions on what to do. I mean, you've done a very fine job of being very thorough in doing this. I got to compliment you. You've done a very thorough job of putting this together.
Well done, Casey.
So, whoever created this document, I'm guessing it's a combination creation between the two of you.
I'm the creator. Casey is the delivery person, and I want to explain that very carefully. Okay. I can have all the knowledge in the world, and I can make it work for myself, but until it's delivered and shared in a manner that invites people to engage, the value is strictly limited. Casey created a website that's totally different than anything else. We have not asked anyone for anything there. We're not selling anything.
Exactly.
We gave that as a gift, and it says that. Now, in the future, there will be documents that do the four following things. Own your own vote. Have the proof of it and an enforceable contract with every public servant. Own your own body, so no one can trespass on it for any reason whatsoever. Own your own information that cannot be tampered with. And express this into the public servant's world. There's one document that does that I wrote, I think it was 93 or 4. It was used one time in a county in Oregon, and about 3/4 of the county employees quit. The guy that did it was Greg Walder.
Okay.
So those 4 things will be on the website soon. And we're Casey and I are very sensitive to energy patterns in motion.
Cool. And this is okay.
We're looking at some timing events that we're not in control of. We just have to live with it, which is very difficult for me because I'm artist. So Casey's helped me learn how to be patient and just stick with it and make sure that when we're ready to go, when we're ready, and she's brilliant at it. What she's done there is truly outstanding. That website is really a piece of work.
Okay, what we got here, I think, has a lot of value to it. Again, but my goal again is the same as your goal, but I'm going to try and do it the way that I know how helps refine the delivery of the message, because that's what you said you wanted is the delivery of the message.
Yep.
Casey's doing it on her end. So I'm going to ask you that you have some patience with me in how I do this, so that we can continue to reach that goal.
Good. Let's go.
Huh?
Questions. Let's go.
All right.
Your questions. Let's go. I'm having a hell of a lot of fun.
Good. I'm glad, because I am having fun too. So, all right. So here's the thing. I'm going to go back and I tried to touch on a few things, and that is. The etymology of the words that we use have been disrupted, okay? We have had words that we should know to mean one thing redefined as another thing. Our language has been usurped. It has been usurped so that we don't know what the hell we're talking about. Therefore, in what I've learned so far, in my research, there's only a couple of real direct to the point things that I see that I'm not sure I'm comfortable with in your document because of what I've learned about the definition of these words. And I'm going to go straight into the beginning of it. Having read the documents, it is very clear what you're doing and how it's working, and the way the documents are put together, making it as easy as possible for anybody who wants to do that. I mean, this is truly I did this with some of the documents that I had, a couple of years ago. I went through and T&I typed them up so that people, could just literally fill in the blanks, and that's kind of what you've got here. And those who are seeing this on the screen will see the red, and you can read through this. So here's the thing. Etymology, and we've used a couple of words here, very, very powerful words that I want to make for sure we're using them in the right circumstances here. Now, you and I both talked about us being sovereigns, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so it is my understanding that one of the reasons that the CIA has propagandized this sovereign citizen BS was because it is a misnomer, and it is intended to verbally trap you when you are engaging or have to engage the public servants, okay? Because they will engage you whether you want them to or not. And if you do and you use the term sovereign citizen, it's a word trap because the two are contrary. Would you agree with that?
Which two words are contrary?
Sovereign, citizen. Those two words. You cannot be a sovereign citizen. If you are a citizen, you are not sovereign. You are a... Huh?
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, and I can't find any documentation to support that point. What I find is a bunch of conjecture after the fact defining it that way.
Okay.
The Declaration of Independence, it's very clear. Creation first, me second, my creation third. Done in my name or by my authority, that's sovereign. To this I pledge my life, my fortune, and my sacred honor. I did this with other people. We, as a group of sovereigns, created something. We all have not only a legal interest as entitled, but equitable interest.
Is a citizen not the subject of the state?
No, we're subject to our own powers that we expressed in writing.
Okay.
Yeah?
So we are our own citizen to ourselves.
Not just, okay, it goes back to the principle, treat all life forms the way you want to be treated. I have to treat my sovereign brothers and sisters the way I want to be treated, don't I?
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm talking about the word citizen. Because, like I said, No.
Well, I created a government. Governments have citizens. We express our sovereignty through a vote. It's a representative situation, isn't it?
Well, that's the form of mind control we subjected ourselves to.
No. You keep going into the result instead of dealing with the cause.
Well, that's
dealing with the cause.
So what is government? So again, what is the term government? Government is govern mind control. It is to control mind. Government.
That's somebody's word game. Anybody that needs to play those word games doesn't understand themselves. Government has meant the same thing for the last 5,000 years.
Yeah.
And all these
to govern meant. Mind is meant.
Because they break the word down through their etymology that they change the nature of something, which is bullshit. That word and its definition has not changed for more than 5,000 years. And now all of a sudden, these guys are so freaking smart, they can say it means this thing, and they're going to get somebody to buy it. Good luck.
Okay.
Can I add something?
Sure, go ahead.
I just wanted to, your question, Erin, how I would answer is that it might have relevance, the word citizen, if it was a government-issued ID, but this is your ID.
And that's fine, and that's what I clarified. You are your own, you're citizen to yourself. So you're just reworded that.
Absolutely. Okay.
Okay. So
that's brilliant the way you said it. Brilliant the way Casey said it, because that's exactly the way it is. Well done, girl.
All right. So my next one is this: you created, and the title of this document is a certificate of citizenship. So let me step to the first. Let me step to the first word. It is my understanding from all the research that I have that a certificate is merely a claim on and not a title. A certificate of title is a claim on the title, but that does not mean you own the title. When you have a certificate of title of your vehicle, the state owns the title of your vehicle, or the bank holds the title of your vehicle. This is something that has been made very clear in multiple sources from all of my research, is that a certificate is not...
Okay, I agree that you have a very valid point from the results position. But I think it falls apart when you deal with the fundamental position to begin with. This is my statement.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you this question. How dare you interpret my words without asking me?
Well, that's why I'm clarifying definitions, because I've heard different definitions, and I want to know what you're...
No.
Yes.
How dare you qualify my words with your definitions?
Well, I asked for that's why I asked for clarification. That's why I asked the question.
Okay. That's why I raised the point in the how dare you. So the real issue is, if you have a question, ask me what certificate means there. That would be ultimate clarity, wouldn't it? Because it's my statement.
And that's why I said it is my understanding. I specifically said it is my understanding. This is what it means. That's why I'm asking you. That's why I'm presenting it to you, because from what I've learned, as I spoke with
your position is taken from a group of systemites that corrupted their powers to take control over you, and that's the definition you're applying. As a result of the corruption, changing the nature of the word to fit their needs.
All right, I'm still trying to. I'm presenting a valid. My presentation is valid, though. When you're surrounded by people who think that word means something else.
No. Now you're going back to the same thing. You're making judgment on something that hasn't happened. Okay, let me explain this. I think this will help you a lot, Erin. There are only three positions that we live in: past, present, or future. Past is fixed.
Hang on, let's get some tea.
No one can change it. The present is our conversation. It changes every moment. That's the only guarantee we got in life. We're not leaving with the body, and it's full change.
And I've recently.
Yeah.
I describe it as this: we live in the now. We live in the now.
That's fine. 0 point now. It's all the same. So the future doesn't exist. All fear that you keep going back to by giving these guys power exists in the future. Past is already dead. You paid the price. It's done. Over. It's not here right now in our discussion. None of those people are around. So what you're doing is going into the future.
Thank you.
Creating a fear there, drawing it back to yourself right now, saying, I can't act because I'm fearful of the future.
No. No, sir. That's not what I'm trying to do here. What I'm trying to do is present the information as you stated you wanted to do, I'm trying to present this information to those who will view this video in such a way that when they walk away from it, that they will have the gonads that you've got. Okay? I'm trying to go over this.
I understand. Erin, I appreciate your intent. You're very, very good at asking the questions and raising the points. But I think the hump here is this. How dare you make a decision that those people don't have gonads and need them? Why don't we just stick with presenting it and let them make their own choice? Why would I make a judgment that all of your listeners need something I have?
Because I understand we're all human, and not all of us are the same. And I'm trying to think through ways that can be absorbed by different mentalities, different mindsets, different characters, and we're not all gonna be you. We can't.
Yeah, I agree.
This is my skill set. My skill set is to try and bring information to people in ways that they might be able to absorb it differently. Otherwise, then I could say, how dare you not have gotten this to everybody's household, and everybody already has this. This should have already been there and it should be perfect. But it's not. This is a process, and we got to work through that process. So that's that's my skill set, is to try and help.
Can I say something?
Well, go ahead.
So I think, so for example, a public servant sees your document. That is, I think, an appropriate reaction or statement is, how dare you tell me what the definition of this word is that I put on this document. So I think for the second point that we're going through here, the word certificate, I think it's the same answer from point one, is that it's your document, and that's the difference. And in fact, and I don't know if there is right or wrong, but you can word it completely differently. And it'd be valid because it's your word. You wrote it. It's your identification. You declared it. And so, so that's how I look at it.
All right, so I want to give another example on this. Okay, so that we can understand that 99% of the people, if not 100% of the people who are going to watch this video, are going to have to go to a grocery store and deal with a clerk. Okay? Here's the point I want to make. Because we have not woken everybody up, and everybody is not on the same frequency and vibration of thinking, we have to work within other people's frequencies and vibrations to treat them the same way we want to be treated, which means they have to gain an understanding that they don't have while we're in conversation. So we got to be able to present that information, because if you just have a hard nose, well, I'm sorry, you better know what I know, and I'm not dealing with it, then they're going to tell you to go F off. And you need, because you can't grow all your food and you can't produce everything on your own, you need what's in that system still. None of us can be out of it 100%. It's not possible. Somewhere we have to engage people who are in the matrix. It has to happen. Or you crawl out in the middle of the woods and hope you can survive eating grubs or shooting deer or whatever you're going to do, and never walk back into the social structure that's out here. Somewhere along the lines, we have to admit that we have to work with others at their level if we want them to absorb it. Because here's one of the mantras that I've said: whose fault is it when a student doesn't learn? Is it the teacher's fault, or is it the student's fault when the student doesn't learn? Whose fault is it? I disagree, because the student does not have the capacity to know what the instructor is teaching. It is the instructor's job to ensure that the delivery of the message is in such a way that the student can understand. So I'm coming from a different premise than you, and I've gotten that information from people who I have high respect for in their teaching. That yes, there are students out there that you can't teach, but given a teachable student, it is, once a teacher has a student that's teachable, it is still the teacher's responsibility to ensure that the message is delivered, to find a way.
I think that you have a false premise here.
Well, we're not going to agree on everything. Okay, so
that's what we're having a discussion for, dear, so that we get it real clear for your listeners. So, every student is responsible for themselves, just like the teacher is. Okay? So, if you're a real, complete individual and you don't understand something, you ask a question.
Uh-huh.
You get an answer. So the teacher's there presenting A, B, and C, and the student says, I don't understand C. And the teacher says, well, maybe I can explain it this way. That's the dialogue.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's teachability. Okay, Charlie, that's teachability index, and 99% of people don't have teachability index. They don't have the ability to know when they're not understanding. Most people will hear something and not know that they don't understand it.
That's not your business. It's theirs. You're not responsible for them. And if you want to take responsible for them, feed them, clothe them, make sure they have a house.
No.
You can only be.
I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to go that far in the totality of things. I mean, when we're simply talking about the relaying of information, if I want to relay information to somebody who's a student, somebody comes to me and says, I want to learn from you, and I say, okay, I want to teach you, we've entered into an agreement or a contract, even on the minor level, and that we are going to do our best to make sure that not only they can learn, but that what I'm trying to teach is getting across. And this is
Hold on. Your premise is this: that because the student asked, I should change who and what I am to fit him. I'm not going to do that. I am what I am. You either pick it up, it's your choice or not. You ask me a question, I'll give you a straight answer. I'm not going to pass judgment that you can't understand. Ever. I'll be straight up. If you can't understand what I'm saying and you can't satisfy yourself, that's not my problem.
No, I didn't say it was your problem. It's not a problem. The problem is whether or not the two of you are successful, the student and the teacher. If the two of you can't, then that's it. You can wash your hands of it and say it's not your problem. But then again, will you have accomplished treating others as you wish you would be treated? Because you didn't know this information.
100%. I have 100% because I was true to myself, not someone else.
In a perfect society or a perfect social structure, in a perfect world, I would agree. But I don't feel like we're in a...
I'm not worried about perfection in
Yeah.
anything except myself. I'll give you an example. I don't go to town very often, but the last time I went to the hardware store, there was an old guy there that said, "Where's your mask, you asshole?" Blah, blah, blah. And I said, "Excuse me, are you my doctor?" "What?" I said, "Are you my doctor? Are you telling me that I'm sick or something and I can harm someone else?" He didn't know what to say. And then he said, "Well, you could be affecting me." And I said, "Well, that's probably true, but
Yeah, I agree, but from somebody who's had lots of conversations with lots of people about it, some will accept and some won't.
That's not my problem. That's their life. They have to live their own life.
And I agree. I agree with those, and the ones that don't accept, I turn around and walk away from. But those who do, and they because I don't know.
If they're honest people to themselves, they will engage you in a dialogue like we're having to make sure there's no mistakes.
And that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
For those may need a how should I say this in a how should I, let me choose some words here. For those, and this is back to the teacher-student relationship that happens in that little moment where you're trying to educate them on knowledge. For those who do want to know, then I do believe there is some responsibility for you to try to get the message delivered or the information delivered in a way that you know that they're at least partially comprehending it or somewhat comprehending it. That you can try. No, you don't have to feed and clothe them and take care of them. It's not that black and white. It is just in that moment when somebody doesn't necessarily get it the first time, that maybe you might have to attempt to. Because you've done it with me in our conversations. You've reworded things to try and help me see something that you're trying to explain. So the premise is there and it's working. That's all I'm saying.
Let's break this down. Let's break this down to the very root here. Okay, this is very simple. I met Casey. I talked to her one time. What was the first thing I did? I measured her vibration rate in harmony with creation. I developed a scale with my girlfriend 10, 11 years ago that's proven to be extremely accurate. We use it all the time. I understood her vibration rate and her parallel with my intent and my drive was very high. Then we had a second conversation, and the vibration rate changed, the intent and parallel, the numbers went up. And I said, look, we have a fit together here. I don't know what it is, but before we continue this discussion, I sense that you have a partner that is half of your life. I can't engage with you unless we bring your partner in, and she brought Michael in. He and I hit it off exactly. We continued. What we did together was put together our best part and delivered it to the world. Why isn't that good enough?
I didn't say it wasn't.
Okay, so we are having this discussion so that you can take it your way and move it.
And that's...
Is that what this discussion is about?
No. No, this discussion is about the quality of the vehicle that you've presented, because this is this document is a vehicle for people, and as I stated, I'm going to titling this video "The Pursuit of Freedom," and I'm titling it "The Pursuit of Freedom" because we're all attempting to find that, or if we thought we had it, we realized we didn't, and somewhere along the lines we're realizing, oh, we're off that track, and we want to get back on that track, and I want to treat the rest of humanity as I want to be treated, which is I want everybody to be free, and I want to know just how...
Wait a minute. What about the people who want to be slaves in their own minds, want to be physical slaves?
That's fine for them.
Shouldn't you respect them?
That's fine for them.
Right.
If that's what they want, but how do you know what you want until you get a choice? And that's the one thing about the law of attraction that I've learned very well, and that is you must know what that choice is. Universe presents you with a choice. sometimes you don't know that choice exists. And, you know, it is our as you stated, to use your words, it's our duty to let people know that there is a choice. That's the whole purpose you did this document, and it is the whole reason we're doing this video. So,
so the question is, did I do my job? You bet I did. I gave everybody in the world a gift, the quintessential root of controlling your legal relationship with the governments we created. The single most powerful tool on the planet for individual expression of creation's energy. All right there.
And again, I'm gonna leave it for people to go through this, and because we're not gonna go any deeper into the document, but I'm scrolling through here, and you can see on my screen a lot of the text and the data that's in here. There are 4 letters here that will need to be sent to 4 different recipients in all serving specific purposes, and I'm not going to get into all of that. Like I said, Charlie, I'm for somebody who's written, and I've written a lot of contracts, I've written a lot of documents, I've written, my own trust, I've written a lot of legal, I don't know what, Charlie, I don't know what Casey told you about my background, but I was a surveyor and civil engineer, so I wrote legal descriptions for property, so there's a lot of my words sitting in record too. So, for me, looking at this is, I told you, I think this is an extraordinarily thorough document. I think you more than did your homework. That is why I am, how should I say, putting forth somewhat of the challenge to see the strength in you, because all right, so here, let me tell you a little story here. When I started to learn the stuff that we're discussing a couple years ago, because that's when you learn. You don't learn about it until you experience it, and you experience negative aspects, and then you go, oh crap, why did this happen? And then you have to learn. That's what happened to you, that's what happened to me. When I was in the middle of that, and I wasn't strong, anywhere near as strong as you in your in your status, in knowing who you were. I wasn't, but I was gaining strength. And when I needed what you've kind of done today, the way that you've approached me, and I'm going to be very specific about this, and I want you to take what I'm saying as a compliment, because if I had an option and I could have called you, I would have called you instead of the gentleman that I'm not going to mention his name. You can probably figure it out based on our conversation, because of who I've spoken with. So I called the gentleman who has presented some of this information, and all I really wanted is basically what you've kind of done in a roundabout way, and that was an atta girl. You go get him. Be strong. This is, that's all I really wanted, to have the interior strength to truly stand up, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about standing up against a bunch of bullies here, right?
Yeah.
And
you got it.
And that's what we're
qualified.
exactly.
In a very clear manner right now.
Huh?
Let me qualify this in a very clear manner right now. I love you, Erin. Absolutely love you.
Good. I love you too. You got to know how I get in goosebumps because of you and I. This is our first real conversation. We're just getting to know each other, but it is we are both wanting the same thing, and we're going about it different ways. But like I said, my little story, 2 years ago, I needed some support. And I called somebody, and I said, I just want to ask you a few questions. And I was told by that someone, you can't afford me. That was an assumption for one, and an insult for another. But here's the thing. If you truly, as you stated, want to treat people the way you want people to treat you, then when help is asked for, you kind of want to give it because you're helping yourself. So there you go. Some people aren't going to accept this. Some people aren't going to want it. What I want was some clarity in the strength, because for anybody who chooses to download this document and go through the trouble to follow the directions, the steps that you've created, fill out these documents and send them off, I want to know that you're strong enough to stand by your words where somebody else wasn't.
Well, I'll explain to you how I operate. Maybe that'll qualify it.
You don't have to. You don't have to, sir. No, sir. You don't have to explain that. What you have to understand is what I just did was give you a compliment.
I understand, dear, and that's why I'm explaining myself, because I don't do that to many people. I don't explain myself to shit. I mean, come on. You already know me. I don't do that. And I want to offer you this explanation so that we're clear, because we're going to have a really good relationship. I already know that. I knew that the first moment that we spoke on the other day on Skype. Okay. You can call me up. I'll spend an hour with you. No problem. Anybody. I don't care who it is. If you're stupid and you want to take advantage of me, I'll tell you to piss off. If you want me to apply my skills to you, I get paid for that. I'll tell you how much I charge by the hour and what I can do after I review whatever situation you need to be able to look at. That's as fair as I know how to be.
Well, looking, like I said, I'm scrolling through the document so those who are watching the video can kind of see what you've got put together here. And the difference, again, this is why when Casey called me, I said I want to do this. She says, well, I got this, and I said, okay, I'm gonna dig into this. And she said, good, dig into it. And that's what I want to try and say is, as I'm looking at this, the thoroughness of these documents and making it simple enough for anybody to follow this. I mean, and I don't want to insult people, but some people bring the insults on themselves because they're incompetent. Anybody who has the least amount of competence. This is I'm saying this is just that damn simple. It really is. You've made it.
Yes, it is.
You've made it really damn simple, and that's the point. So somebody shouldn't need to call you for services if they can do their own homework.
Well, I have that experience as well. People, I wrote this document about 2-3 years ago. Fine-tuned it when I started working with Casey to what you see now, but I've had people call me up and say, well, what do I put in here? Let's list it right on a document. So, what I understand is this. Every individual I deal with is unique. We all have our own problems, and your problems are mine. I will be myself, and I will be straight with you right down to pipe, and that's the best I can do. And when I sleep good every night, I know I did a good job.
And I want to say something too, is that I think more important than the document itself is that, and I think this is where it may look like Charlie's being an asshole, but it's more passion, is that
No, that's I wouldn't use that term at all. No. No.
Well,
asshole.
but it really is passion, because it can get you frustrated when someone keeps turning back to a slavery position, and you're buying into this system. Is that it is absolutely 100% a lifestyle change, not just a confidence game. It's a lifestyle change. The minute you have doubt, let's say it's a situation with a cop or something, irregardless of what happened, whether you got handcuffed and thrown in jail or you were let go, it's about your mentality. If you live and breathe, I have full authority. I am the creator of this government. I am part of creation. The minute you have doubt, you're back into the system. And that's where I think Charlie's passion is, that it's just a matter of changing your mind.
And that's, see, that, and I know, Charlie, you may not grasp some of my techniques, but the way I approach doing this video is, I know the programming in the majority of the people are, if not all, but maybe one. There's only one or two people that I know that I've talked to that are on my channel that I would say have your size of cojones. Let's just put it that way. There's only a couple of them out there that really feel like sovereigns, because everybody that I talk to, so I know the programming in the majority of people is exactly what you just stated, that there's always this return to their programming, the return to their servant mentality, and that's the hard thing. And in order to move away from it, it doesn't happen just like that for people. It takes time, and it is a decision. I agree with you. You either are or you're not, but coming to that decision takes a while for people to go, you know what, this is my life and you're not fucking with it. You're
preaching to the choir, dear.
I know I am, but I've got however many people are going to watch this video that are going to make the same statements and discussions and arguments that I may have made, and I was standing in their shoes so that I can hopefully help them grow the demeanor. Huh?
You've done a brilliant job. Okay, you told me straight up that you wanted to test the limits.
Well, yeah.
Brilliant job. Okay, think about this. How hard was my head that I had to spend 12 and a half years in federal prison, 47 and a half months in hardcore lockup before it came through to me.
Yeah. See, you didn't get there all at once either.
Yeah. Nobody does.
No, nobody does.
When you started out as a baby and you learned to crawl, everything we do in life is based on our experience. The key element is very simple. I have never, ever done anything in the past that I didn't learn from. That's all it takes. I made the choice to learn from my mistakes. That's simple. You've done the same thing.
Yes, and it's
you knew what you needed to pull out of me, and you did it very well.
Well, it's again, I've learned, because I wouldn't say, you and I we are very, very, very similar, but we go about things different. We go about things a little bit differently, and I have my heart and the way I try and present things, and it's some people I just know this, that I still about every month or every month or two or sometimes twice a month, I'll get an email from somebody who's never commented on my videos, that I've never seen, did not know, did not hear, and it'll be one of these 3, 4, 5 page long letters. Erin, I've been following you for so many years. You have a unique way of giving everybody the ability to be successful, and you gave me the strength to where I know I could do this, and in the last 2 years I've changed my life because of you, and now I'm not scared of what's coming. I get those so many times that those are the emails that make it, nearly make it worthwhile to keep doing these videos.
Yep.
So.
Understood.
Well, I think that's
Let's break that down and let's look at the dynamics going back to the Declaration of Independence. Okay.
Hey, can we? I don't know how much longer you want to keep going, but if we want to keep going longer, let's do a pause again and do a part 3.
I'm good. Are you good, Casey?
Yes.
All right, so let me pause this for everybody who's watching. This will be the end of part 2, and we're going to start a part 3 shortly.